Third round is up against Lomansky. And let's see if we can keep the streak up. We are not on the play this turn, facing a Scythian Infiltrator that we don't have a good block for, so we're just going to ignore that for a turn, I think. Cadros Colossus is great in this aggressive deck because 6/6, 11/11. Great stats. We don't really care too much about the level 3 stats because they are not, well, they're not the most useful. Playing these next to each other doesn't play around a mobility threat, but it does play around also Tremorsaur once again on 1.2. Great. It does play around something that gives this guy mobility. I could see placing an ambusher here. I think Twin Strength could be a likely play alongside the Tremorsaur. Could just keep taking damage from this guy for another turn until we draw one of our 6/7s or 7/7s to block it. The key to making these decks work, as you may have noticed, is to be able to get 2 cards out of your big creatures. And applying these big creatures to the board means that your opponent must block them, or find themselves in a really bad position, or definitely a bad position. I'd be very interested to see if there is just a block here to trade and then a losing block here, because then Mystic and Tremorsaur would be great. This is a very good block. This is also a good block. So we may have to pull the trigger on the Twin Strength. We definitely shall do that to keep these guys alive and dealing damage, meaning that they need to be blocked next turn too. I guess this play doesn't play around something like the worst card for us would be a Bright Tusk Sower, which is pretty fun. That is what we are hoping our opponent isn't drawing. Tremorsaur, 6/8. So we've taken a bunch of damage to try to mount a board that is very tough for our opponent to deal with. And I hope that these guys both will take another card to deal with. If our opponent was Tempe's, just one of the Darkstone Maiden, I don't know what they're called, but the common Magma Hound. There's a Venom Fang is incredibly good here. That's another really good, or at least solid, one of the best commons in this set. I think we're just gonna keep taking damage from this because we still don't have a good blocker, and I still feel like I am the aggressive deck. So this Mystic needs to be blocked, and then this Stalker will hit our opponent's face, and this Tremorsaur also needs to be blocked. So let's see what we're up against here. And we can block with an Ancient this turn. In all of the games so far, I've been very willing, since I'm playing an aggressive deck, I'm very willing to use my life total as a resource. I've been taking 24 damage from this Scythian Infiltrator, just for the sake of building a board. Lomansky is playing very well, or having great cards to combat this strategy that I have of gaining a board advantage by playing his own big creatures. Which means that while I try to set up this board position, I am taking damage from this Infiltrator, which isn't too big, but it is small enough that I want to be able to beat it straight up in a fight. And I didn't draw the right card for a number of turns. May have been a little unlucky in that regard. Looking to play the Ancient and the Ambusher here, I think. Hermes is a big card. Stranglevine Hydra. Okay. So we don't have to deal with the Scythian Infiltrator just yet. Question now is... do we present the blocks here? And I think we do. We can present a block here and then a post-combat block here. I feel like we've bled enough, and since it's our opponent's 2.1 and our opponent may have maybe double level 2, still wants to deal with these cards, and they will deal damage to his level 2 as well as deal with these guys. It's important to find the turn where you want to play around. I don't want my opponent to block the Stalker with a big guy, and if he wants to do that right now, he needs to overwrite the Hermes. If something like a Twin Strength is played here to reverse both of these trades, or not reverse, but to... yeah, exactly. So we forced the overwrite on the Hermes, which I'm very happy about. The Intruder should have been played as a first play, but this Hermes was probably going to happen anyway. This is a tough turn because, well, actually, we can kill the Hermes with a Mystic. Or we could play the Mystic here and block this guy with the Ambusher, but that loses a lot of Ambusher value, which I don't want to be having. Instigator, actually interesting card against Hermes to be able to deal with maybe some sweet activate cards. We haven't seen any of those just yet, so let's deal with the guy with the Mystic, because the Mystic turns into a well, actually depends. If we're sufficiently behind, having the Mystic level may not be the correct answer here. Maybe we'd rather want a 12-7, but then again that sets us up for maybe being blown out by something. Card I don't want to see here is Venom Fang. And I'd consider Venom Fang to be maybe the best common in Utera. Utera really don't have a strong common creature suit. You have the Swamp Moss Ancient. This guy is, I think, maybe the best. Maybe alongside the Venom Drinker, or not the Venom Fang. Okay, so another Thranic Ambusher. So maybe this time can't afford to not block here. Or we could block the Swamp Moss Ancient next turn. So I'm relying heavily on these to eat 2 creatures. Well, that could be fine. Also means that I won't be able to play the Flowstone Primordial or Borean Stormweaver this turn, but I think it's worth it to be able to deploy this as a big threat rather than a small threat and block this guy. We're gonna have to see. It is entirely depending on... wow. Can we take 36 from this? Because having a Mystic with Twin Strength while our opponent is trying to deal with these should be very, very strong. And then we should be able to deal with this with mostly anything. I'm looking to be able to play both of these cards, and this card not as a blocker, but as an attacker. If we can get this to be a 12-14 aggressive, I think that is highly valuable. That is definitely precious. And something that is much more dangerous than the 24 extra damage that we're going to take from this. Venom Fang makes that play a little bit less likely because it trades well with one of these guys. Once again, showing why Venom Fang is a great card in draft. Pterodon Rex. That does not scare me too much, although here is the decision point. So we could just attack here. We can block this guy with the Thranic Ambusher and be fine with that. But a 15-15 and this guy is so hard to deal with. I think it's too good to pass up. So this is a very aggressive play, an incredibly aggressive play, but these guys think are winning their race against the Swamp Moss. Yeah, they are. And both of these needs to be dealt by with 2 creatures. Because they are just too big to be dealt with any other way. So what do you do? Maybe you double block the Mystic. Well, that means you're dead to Shatter Bolt here in my hand. And if you double block the Ambusher, well, you take 12. And actually not dead to Twin Strength and Shatter Bolt. Well, unless this guy survives. Of course he does if there is a double block. So if this guy survives, our opponent is dead. I think. No, I think we're 1 damage off. Anyway, this Mystic is so big. Question is, do we block the Rex with the Tremosaur? I don't know. So this is a position where Tremosaur isn't great. How do we lose this game? Double big pump, maybe? Yeah, sure. We could block here, and that could be fine. And that's a tough one. What do we do here? 14 damage from this guy. If we play this over here, it needs to get blocked, and this probably needs to get blocked twice. But our opponent... Let's see what level 3s our opponent have to deal with that. If they have a singular level 3 that does that well, I may block. Hermes level 3. It's a 15-15. It's not big enough. Okay. Move on. Venom Fang 3. Blocks, and that is actually 14. That's 18. That actually does it. Interesting. By itself, and then the opponent can block this Tremosaur. Wow, that was a. This shows it really shows the turns where Tremosaur isn't the greatest for sure. Can we take 8 from this? That seems. How dangerous is it? Because we'd be down to. We are down to 13 life. So how do you pump for 13? What have we seen so far? I don't think you can pump for 13 with double level 1. So Vault Intruder, Swamp Moss Ancient, Venom Fang. Venom Fang is a card that I'm scared of. Hermes, Stranglevine, Hydra, Hermes, Vault Intruder. So Hermes 3, Swamp Moss Ancient, Venom Fang. Another Swamp Moss Ancient. So we forced a couple of Swamp Moss Ancients. So there is only one card that deals with this. That is only one card, and that is the Venom Fang. So if our opponent draws the Venom Fang, it's still in the game. Okay, I'm fine by that. Let's do it like this then. This Tremosaur by itself isn't lethal, which is curious. So the double block on the Mystic while surviving is possible. And we can't deal 1 damage to ourselves to trigger the Tremosaur. This is a very tight game, but we're trying to win here by force. The only card I'm scared of is Venom Fang here, and it's a 1 in 6. And then an answer for the Tremosaur is probably needed. Then we have a Swamp Moss Ancient and a Tyrannic Ambusher. Actually, this... Okay. So we win due to the Everflame aura, likely here. The double block was needed, and it wasn't enough. But this was a really fun and interesting aggro matchup. Also, that kind of... that was dangerous against Leyline Golem. Yeah, it was quite dangerous. Quite dangerous. I should have at least thought of that a little bit more before I went and did my play. Anyway, we're 3-0, and I'll see you for round 4